Yeah, that is cool.
As you're calling the opposite of the thing,
All right, 6 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and get started. Call the meeting of the Highland School Board. Done with a roll call by the clerk.
Kleinville.
Here.
Mitchell.
Here.
Schmidt.
Here.
Jaeger. Here. Benish.
Here.
Tomkamp here. Murray.
Okay, joint meeting.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I have a posting of this meeting given to the public pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.84. You have a motion by Dirty and a second. Favor, please say aye. And then we'll move on to the consent agenda. As you all remember, the consent agenda is meeting notes, approval of current expense and voucher payable. That's it for this.
Need a motion to approve the consent agenda items under A and B.
We have a motion by Comcast and second by Schmidt to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And we will move on to the public appearances before the board, not for action. So as you all heard at the beginning, there is a sign in, and before the meeting, you must have signed in order to speak during this time. We want to thank you all for being here. We do want to hear from everybody. According to our board policy, this is just a reminder. This portion of the meeting is designed for the board to hear input from the community. It's not a time where the board is authorized to respond. All comments during this portion of the meeting are to be directed to the board as a whole, not to staff or any other participants. In addition, no person may address or question any board member in the meeting. Each participant shall be allotted 3 minutes to speak in order to maintain structure to the meeting, with each topic not to exceed 15 minutes. We do have a timer, and the timer will be set for the 3 minutes, and the speaker shall stop when the timer rings. No participant may speak more than once on any same topic. And please know that speakers are not immune from legal consequences related to the consequences of their speech or the content of their speech. So, we have a couple people that signed in but did not write their address. Does that mean you weren't planning to speak? Okay. First one on the agenda is Carrie Wonderland from Cobb. The topic is accountability. Carrie, if you'd like to stand.
Sure. Good evening. We ready?
Yes.
Okay. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Carrie Wonderland. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. Also briefly and without response, I realize sitting on a board is sometimes a thankless job. I sit on 5 of them. I'm here tonight to share my story with you and ask that you stand for and demand a change. From the outside looking in, and as I understand it, you are tired of hearing from the same folks and don't understand why they keep coming back. I thought I'd take the opportunity to explain this from a different lens with the intention that you understand. Other people are paying attention, not just those that have come to you for months now asking for a change. But so are the communities that surround you. We see what's going on and you need to do something about it. I was born and raised in Montfort by amazing parents and instilled in me at a young age proper values. I chose to raise my family here. My son was a 3-sport athlete and excellent student. Luckily for him, he had a great high school experience. Unfortunately for my daughter, she did not have the same. I'll spare you the details of what my daughter has endured for 24 years of her life. It might make you sit back and think about how precious life is. Several years ago, I sat in front of a board consisting of elected officials with my 3-minute speech to watch nothing happen. I'm fully well aware of the rules and obligations as it relates to your board meetings. There's nothing like standing in front of the people you elected to run your school district. People once thought of as friends and neighbors do absolutely nothing to protect your child. You see, my daughter was bullied and humiliated for years. The board sat mute. Nothing was done about my consistent concerns. Nothing. My parents always said, don't wish for your kids to grow up. It'll happen all too fast. Sure did. But I was never so thankful as a parent to watch my daughter graduate and walk away from the lack of accountability for actions from student, staff, admin, and public community members. They didn't care about what was right and wrong. They let me say my piece and hoped I'd go away. My daughter's been out of high school for 6 years now. Seeing her, even hearing the names of her former classmates that created this miserable experience for her, gives great anxiety, frustration, and all kinds of other emotions. They have lifelong effects. Here's the good news. She had parents that stood up and taught her right from wrong. She's an amazing human being that left that high school, went on to get a college education, and contributes to society in positive and meaningful ways. I attribute that to strong parents, teachers, and people in our community that stood for what was right and wrong. I don't care about reputation. I don't care what your name is or who you think you are. Those things will take you nowhere in life. What I do know is a society and a community, we've got major issues. And until we as a community, parents, employers, change a culture, we won't see change. It's time to speak up. Stop hiding behind a reputation. As an employer in Iowa County, I can tell you this: entitlement and reputation, who your parents are or family are, doesn't matter. It's not going to protect these students in the real world. Well, I don't live in Highland. I'm not far down the road. It's our responsibility to stand for change for what's right and wrong. I find myself disgusted at what I've read and heard about what's happened in your district. I was recently informed of a fellow alumni losing a daughter to suicide because she was perceived as fat. I had a fellow colleague lose a son to suicide because he was bullied by other guys in his school not far from Highland. For what, you might ask? The same types of behaviors that seem to be acceptable practice at your school. Be the change. Stand for what you say you do. Hold yourselves and your students accountable to right and wrong. Don't celebrate and condone wrongdoers. After all, you seem to care about your reputation, right? Speak up, protect the children you're elected and hired to protect. When you leave this room tonight, please think about how you might feel if this was your child, grandchild, niece, or nephew. Why do we sit back and say, I don't understand what happened when a school shooting or a suicide happened? Did you stand up for the underdog, or did you worry about your reputation? I'm asking you to be a change, set an example, and lead by example.
Thank you, Carrie. I have to apologize. I don't think this is working. It seems as though it stopped, but it did not ding. So if anybody has something on their phone that they could, I'll work on that. Sarah Broker, follow-up and bullying.
I won't be 3 months this time, so. Sarah Baroker. I waited 7 months after the sexual assaults were reported to the school to attend a board meeting. I have since been accused of wanting to be seen and heard. For those who hide behind their phones and have so much to say, I'm wondering what they would do had they been in our situation. I will never regret standing up for my son. I will continue to support him through life's toughest moments. What I do regret is promoting the school, its staff, and community. Staff and administration should be ashamed of themselves. Their rude personal comments and opinions have made their way back to us. I was not aware that my son was going to attend the meeting with me last month. He arrived home from practice as I was leaving and asked if he could attend. I am proud of his ability to sense the need for closure. He and I have since been labeled as stupid for speaking out last month. Recording your meetings and posting them on your YouTube page is not a decision made by us. That is on the school. Following the meeting, students were informed by one another that one doesn't get PTSD from sexual assault. I think the school's focus needs to begin there. Effects of their actions and behavior on others, signs of abuse and assault, and proper reporting. Sadly, it seems your focus is on public comment, trying to shut my family down and not holding people accountable. It seems staff and administration can tell you the sky is purple and you believe it. I wish that the same trust and respect was reciprocated to us. You can't be against bullying or assault without doing something about it. The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who know and do nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. And I do want you to know that we have thought about and talked about and considered the.
Yeah, I won't be coming back. Thank you.
You know, and you had, is it okay if I finish?
Yeah.
Okay, although we aren't able to respond in this venue, we do want to invite you to have a meeting with our administrator and a couple of us if you would like.
Sure.
And if you would just like email or call Randy, Dr. Reslin, and he will get that set up for us. And it can be anytime that you're available.
Awesome, thanks.
All right, so that is it for our list, and we will move on to announcements and reports, starting with our student presentation regarding the FFA National Convention.
Originally, according to plan, going to be a video, 2 students and myself here to explain how things went. Well, we have the video and we have me. You'll see that 4 of them are working. 1 was sick in school today and 1's sick tonight. So, sorry, but I'm your source for now.
I got 2.
Oh, perfect.
Hello, my name is Abby Murphy. I'm a senior FFA member, and tonight I'm unable to attend this board meeting at Zen. Tuesday morning, we came to the school at 12:30. In the morning, we left for Fenimore to load our coach bus, and then from Fenimore, we left the Broken Wagon Bison Ranch tour. There, we watched a video on the history of bison and how the animals have evolved. We fed the bison hay cubes and learned about what they're fed, what their feed is consisted of. We learned how they're closely related to goats. And then from there, we left the bison ranch tour and we headed to the Indianapolis Zoo. At the zoo, we walked around and we looked at all the different animals they had there. And then we even got a pet kangaroo, and then from the zoo, we left for the hotel for the day.
My name is Abby Kreisner, and I'm a FFA member. I'm a senior. I wasn't able to attend because I work at Lancet. On Wednesday, we started the day in official FFA dress. Then we went to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Tour. That is where the Indy 500 race is held each year. We toured the racetrack and the museum. We even got to kiss the bricks of the finish line on the racetrack, mimicking what the winner did at the first race there. After that, we left the Speedway tour and headed to the Career Expo at the Convention Center. There we visited college booths and learned about different aspects in agriculture. We left there for a concert where Lauren Elena and Jimmy Allen played.
My name is Rosa Clary, and I'm a senior FFA officer, and I'm not able to attend the board meeting because I'm working at the relay. We started the day in official FFA dress. We left the hotel for the opening ceremony session, and we listened to a motivational speaker. Her name was Tamika Catchings. She is a deaf WNBA player who never wore hearing aids during her childhood. Then from the session, we went to the Career Expo and we went to a workshop. The workshop was called Be Kind to Your Mind, and we talked about the importance of mental health. We brainstormed ideas for stress relief and coping mechanisms. And we visited more college booths. Then we left the Career Expo for the National FFA Museum. At the National FFA Museum, we learned about the history of FFA and National FFA members from the past. And we got to see the old original FFA jackets that were white. And then we left the museum for the lighthouse.
My name's Paula Rome and I'm a junior FFA officer. On Friday, we started an official FFA dress and we left the hotel for the Career Expo. We visited the Blue Room and listened to students from other states explain experiments that they did. And some of the experiments were on healthy foods and their nutritional values. We also talked to Puerto Ricans and learned about their culture and how they got involved with FFA, and also learned about their school life and tried some coffee that they make. And then we visited the Army booth and did some pull-ups and push-ups to win some t-shirts. And then we learned about animal science in the vet Army booth, and then we left the Career Expo for home.
I'm Olivia Esser, sophomore FFA officer. Being able to attend the National FFA Convention was a great opportunity for all students involved in FFA. From this experience, we learned how to come together with 60,000 other FFA members across the country who also share the passion for FFA that we do. We met a lot of new people from many different states and countries. We also learned many things at all of the different booths at the Career Expo. We had the chance to explore different colleges at the college booths and talk with the people about their careers and what we plan to do for our future.
I'm Dakota Sanchez, junior FFA officer. We would like to thank the board, the administration, and FFA and Mr. McCauley for giving us this great opportunity to experience the National FFA Convention. We would also like to thank Mr. Rupp and Ms. Mitchell for being our advisors since Mr. McCauley was not able to join us.
Be happy to address any questions. This is probably an experience far beyond what most of, at least my students, will ever endure. Just awesome, as Ms. Esser mentioned, 60,000 FFA members in Lucas Oil Stadium. It just blows you away. So we thank you for the opportunity for these students to be able to go to the National FFA Convention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Give us a call.
Okay, our next staff presentation, Mr. Keeler and the Reading Buddies.
Hi, everybody. As you just heard, I'm Mr. Keeler, and I'm here to present on the Reading Buddies. You don't know who I am. I teach high school English, and I also oversee the K-12 library. So I wear a couple of different hats, but that's okay because when something unexpected happens, cord falling out, you just adjust and make the best you can. So, as I said, I'm in control of or responsible for a lot of the high school. Most of the high school students come through my classroom at any given day. And so that's a unique opportunity in a small school. You have to wear lots of different hats, but you can be responsible for a lot of different things and you can make unique kinds of projects happen. So last year, I was doing my practicum for my library media specialist license, and I started the Reading Buddy program, right? Now, what is a Reading Buddy program for, right? Well, we take a day every one Friday a month, and we take the high school students and they go down and read with their reading buddies. So I pair them with reading buddies, from 4K up to 4th grade. And so they meet with the same reading buddies every month. The purpose of this is to promote positive relationships among our students, all students, and encourage mentorship roles among our senior students, all while students bond over a shared love of reading, right? Of course, it's reading buddies, and so the focus is reading, but really a lot of what we're supposed to be promoting with reading buddies is a positive culture and positive learning environment within the school, right? The mentorship role is one that some students feel, frankly, that I don't know if that should be me. Are you sure that I should be the one who should be like a reading buddy with this little kid? A student actually said that to me one time. I said, yes, of course, even you has the potential to be a good mentor to one of these little kids. And I tell them, I'll show you with our get to know you days, it's important to develop these kinds of relationships early on. And I tell them, listen, guys, you don't even realize that you are, but you're large and intimidating to these kids. And so you got to get down to them on a relatable kind of level. The first day, every year when we meet the reading buddies for the first time, is a get to know you activity, right? And so they tell each other about each other. They color their reading buddy. They fill out some information. My reading buddy is in 10th grade. He works at Land's End, by the sounds of it, a lot of us work at Land's End in school, and some stuff about them that they can take home, right? Then there's like a Venn diagram activity. This is what I like. This is what they like. Somewhere in the middle, we've got something to bond over. One of the best pieces of feedback that I've ever gotten. One of the best pieces of feedback I've ever gotten on the Get to Know You days was from a 4K kid last year. And I don't know who the little guy was, but he went home and he told his mom. He had 2 reading buddies. And he said, Mom, they're farmers just like me. They drive a real tractor every day. And it was amazing because I said to my seniors at the time, I was like, guys, I don't care what they want to read or what you want to read about. Read what they want to read about. Of course, for that little guy, it's tractors. And all year long, they just read about tractors. And he had these 2 big farmers to look up to for the whole year. After our Get to Know You day, we've got our Read Together days, right? And this is a standard day where kids get together, they pick out books, sometimes they bring books with them. Your older kids, your 3rd and 4th graders, they can read quite well. And so they bring their own books and read to their reading buddies read back to them. The important thing is that we have something to read about, for the duration of the hour. And then they'll have a little activity where they, talk about the favorite parts of the book. Maybe the reading buddy says, have you ever felt like that before? And then they identify a feeling within the book, right? Here's some more pictures. Looks like I got caught taking a picture right here. This little girl's looking right up at me, isn't doing it. But we've got, a bonded reading buddy activity among several students. So you space out, within the classroom, within the elementary library, within the gym, and get to know their reading buddy over a book. Right? And then we have our project days. These are the special days that don't happen every month, but they happen as often as I can reasonably put them together. The project days are cool. So this one was the first one that I ever did. It was on the Stinky Cheese Man, right? So I had Miss Parker read to her 4K kids the previous day the story of the gingerbread man, so it was fresh in their minds. The next day I brought my seniors down and we read The Stinky Cheese Man, which is like the gingerbread man, except he smells like stinky cheese and nobody in fact wants to eat him. And so they all, he runs away from them easily. The activity that they did afterward, after they got some laughs about it, was they took some polymer clay and they made their own little reading buddies, They made their own little stinky cheese people. And then we baked them in the oven and they hardened and they got to take them home and say, look, Mom, look, Dad, I've got my own stinky cheese person. And I made it with my reading buddy today. Okay? A different day, we read the book Stuck by Oliver Jeffers. This one I did with my juniors and a 1st grade group. What Stuck is a little boy who gets his kite stuck in a tree and he can't figure out how to get it out. So he keeps throwing stuff into the tree, like he throws his cat and a saw and a fire truck and all this stuff, and it all gets ridiculously stuck in the tree. The kids get a good laugh about it because it's ridiculous and it's absurd, right? And so what we did, we took some plaster of Paris and we made our own little trees out of colored popsicle sticks. And what they did after the reading buddy project or a book that I read them that day. They made their own ridiculous, silly things to get stuck in their trees. And they've got a good laugh over all the silly things. Like this one, I think was a hospital, like a helicopter landing pad. Somebody put the entire world in there. Somebody put the Highland School in there. And everybody got a good laugh out of all the silly things that they put in their tree. Our next meeting is going to be next Friday, because it's the only day in November that I could do it without it being Thanksgiving or Veterans Day. So that's right before Thanksgiving. Okay? So what we're gonna do, they're gonna pick and read a book from Dodgeville Library about Thanksgiving. And we've got these little trees made up where the kids will write or draw, if they're in 4K and can't write particularly well, what they're thankful for. And they'll have a 3D little thing to take home to mom and dad just in time for Thanksgiving to talk what they're thankful about. So, Reading Buddy project is something that I love doing, that I'm really passionate about. And I hope to do it for, every month for as long as I can come up with something. I think it's something really good to encourage young readers to believe in the power of reading, to see a hero in the hallways. And it gives, my older kids a chance to be a mentor when they might not have one otherwise. That's it. That's all I got.
Questions for Mr. Keeler?
Yes.
Just a comment.
Yeah.
My kids love it, so.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
big hit. That's awesome.
Awesome. Great. I'll keep doing it.
It's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, as you know, little kids see those big kids coming, and they're just in awe, and see them places on a score and at band concert and stuff like that, and have them come down and actually read with them. It's pretty cool to watch.
It's the first day is a little awkward, because they don't know each other, but after that, they're, fist bumping in the hallway, and, it's like, they'll go down to the elementary and they got a buddy, and all the time, not just on Fridays. So anyways, thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Mr. Terrell.
All right. Quite a few things I'd like to share with you tonight that's we've been working on and going through and that happened here in the last month. So middle school honors band, first one I'd like to start with, they performed every year. They do a concert with the honors band kids around our conference. It was hosted in Potosi again. Potosi's got a nice little theater there, so we used that. Happened on November 1st. Kids did a great job. Ms. Strock was very proud of the kids. She said they behaved very well. They feed them there and they put the concert on that night. So we'd like to recognize our middle school honors band kids. We talked about the FFA, 6 members with the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis. I think that's the most we've had here in a long time that went at one time. So that was really nice to see. Football team finished their season at 6-4, had a good year. They're an overall young team, so made the playoffs again this year. So we're proud of the boys. Our volleyball team finished their season as well. They made it to sectional finals this year, had an outstanding year. There was a ton of support. Miss Mitchell did a great job working with everybody. Got the game that was supposed to be in Lafarge, a smaller gym than we have. We got to move to Ritson Center, and both schools, Waniwak had a great team. They filled their side, we filled our side. So it was great to see all the community support for the volleyball team. Coach Wineski and her staff did a great job again this year. A team that lost a lot of seniors, and they just got better and better every week and made a heck of a run. So we're proud of them. The banquet for the girls and boys volleyball and football teams was last night. A lot of conference awards. It was just a good night, good food. Got all the pictures done, so you'll see that stuff coming out in our newsletter and then obviously in the paper. We'd like to thank the sponsors. When we're hosting the playoffs, you no longer do it how we do it during the season. You got to pay for that. So we'd like to thank Rachel, Brad, Pat, and Don of Wolf Farms. They sponsored the game, so we could live stream it. Bobby Joe Bumcamp Drone from Century 21. Her company sponsored the game, and then TriStar sponsored the game. So we want to thank those 3 businesses for their support. Sources of Strength, they met actually yesterday. They met at the church. So they had a community get together and they talked about sources of strength. They had a national trainer come in. We had 4 community members. Beth was one that attended that. What they do, they talk about
It's called the Wheel of Eight Strengths. I don't know if you guys remember, we brought that to you last year and had the wheel and had the 8 different strengths. Talked about what that means. Talked about things they can do in school, a lens through time and what we can change here at school, how we can get better, how we can work through things as students. And then ideas to share information with other students, hang up some posters, things like that. Beth, did you want to elaborate on any of that? Or did I miss anything?
No, the thing that I took away the most was that the trainer kind of mentioned was not focusing on the trauma, but focusing on the strength of how you got through the trauma. That was something that was really impactful for me. I enjoyed every single bit of it. I know some of these girls were there. It was very enjoyable. And all the kids were really good. Again, back to that. But I think it's a really good program. And the focus is positive instead of focusing on the negative, which is really nice.
Yeah. Stop the bleed training. We had that today. That's something that we put in. We did the last training a couple years ago. We did it again for all our staff again today. It's just something where we want staff to be prepared if there's something that happens, an accident, where obviously we have to stop the bleeding. So we taught how to use gauze. So Barb, we want to thank Barb, Sharon, and Tammy Benish came in and did the training. They have kits that they get, came in and everyone got to practice how to put a tourniquet on, how to stop, how to apply pressure. And then obviously Barb talked before that about what you do, calling 911, the process, the whole thing. So just another way we can prepare in case something happens. Just like to recognize Tammy, she had come in from work. So she just got off work. She works nights through hospice, didn't go home, came straight here after work. So I want to recognize her publicly for her help with that. So, and obviously Barb and her Sharon. Veterans Day is this Friday. I don't want to say too much about that other than it's going to be awesome. So we'll have the veterans here Friday. We got a little surprise for them afterwards. We're going to reveal the wall, so we're going to cover that up so they can't see it until Friday. And then we got a little presentation in here afterwards. We're going to invite them in and we're going to show a film about Vets Roll and an honor flight type of thing where, I don't know if you guys know much about that, but they start, I think they're up to 1967, I think now, where you can sign up and you get a free trip. Everything's paid for. They take you out to Washington DC. So we want to recognize all the sponsors for the wall of donations. It's going to be really good. It's my favorite concert of the year that Miss Straka and Miss Pink put on. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully if you can make it, great, but we'll film it if you can't and take a watch to it. It's going to be good. I'd like to recognize the Lions Club as well. They sponsored again a poster contest for youth ages 11 to 13. The theme they had this year was World Peace. So 7 middle school students participated in the contest as part of an art class with Miss Halverson. And the Lions Club generously donated equipment and supplies to the art department. And the winners also got a little monetary package. So that was nice. 3rd place was JJ Cleary. 2nd place, McKenna Von Baron. And our 1st place student was Charlie Brewa, middle school kid. So his project will go on to the next level through the Lions Club. So Lions Club does a lot of stuff for us every year. So I want to recognize them again for that. Had a principals meeting today, and I mentioned to you last time that we'd like to do a conference recognition, some things. So we set committees for a math contest, a forensics meet, and then a math meet, and we added a geography meet hopefully today. So some schools, great. I won't say the principals are going to head that up, but they're going to delegate some people in their building to do that. So that's coming hopefully in the spring this year. Next week, Miss Snyder, she's taking her business class to UW of Platteville. It's going to be called, it's called a business challenge. So her whole class is going down there and they work as a team and they come up with this business plan. It's a competition against other schools. This is the first time I believe we've done this, so I'm interested to see how that goes for them. STEM Club started, I don't know if you saw that in the newsletter, but the STEM Club is doing very well. Got a ton of kids that stay after school, work with Miss Bowen and Miss Peart. That's one night a week after school for an hour. Kids love it. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. Reading buddies, Mr. Keeler talked about tonight, did a great job. Our sophomore health class, Miss Smith's health class, they've been discussing bullying prevention. And on Sunday, November 13th is World Kindness Day. So they were doing some group discussions and they're creating special challenges or activities each day for 4K through 12. We want to do that straight for 5 days. We haven't set those 5 days yet. We want to get around the 13th if we can. But if it's not quite ready yet, we'll just push it back and work around Thanksgiving. We're gonna have 5 days activities for the kids about World Kindness Day and bullying prevention. One thing she's also doing with this class that I think is interesting, if you, probably like when you guys go to work or when you go to church, you always sit in the same spot, right? It's kind of just a habit, you know, there's not assigned seats, but you sit there, right? So what she's challenging the sophomore class to do is they have to, for a certain number of days, they have to go to lunch every day and they have to sit with a different group of people they don't normally sit with. So obviously they have to ask to sit there. They can't use their phone. They have to initiate a conversation. I know that seems maybe simple to us, but you'd be surprised that high school kids, how hard that can be sometimes, even though you know the kids, but to start a conversation without this thing in your hand can be difficult for them. So that's a challenge that they're doing here for their health class. SCP, our senior exit projects, we'd like to, you know, we do it every year in the spring. We have the day where they come in, mentors come in, we have the meal, they, you know, do their presentations. But you guys, because of work and stuff, have a hard time being at those. So what we'd like to do in the next 3 months, we're gonna split the class in thirds. So bring 6 students in, we'll just do a real quick stand up, say who they are, and just talk to you about what they're doing and how they're giving back to the community. So Ms. Chalk and Mr. Scanlon will set that up for us and we'll put that on the agenda for the next 3 meetings. So speaking of that, would you do that for me, Barbie? Lastly, for me, in January, we have a guest speaker coming in. He was actually recommended from Jeff Campbell down at Riverdale. So we're gonna split this person. His name's Terrence Talley. He's a great speaker. I've got nothing but accolades about him. Talks about self-worth and self-motivation. January 30th, Monday, he's gonna come in and speak in grades 6 to 12. So I'm looking forward to listening to him. If you Google him, there's a little presentation if you wanna see it and watch what he does. It's really cool. So that's it for me. That's your questions.
Thank you.
Is it worth having younger kids go to that presentation?
He does do one for kindergarten through up to middle school, a different obviously presentation. Right, but since we split with Riverdale, that's a full day thing. We're taking a half day, taking a half day, so.
Are they all in gym at the same time, or is it multiple presentations? Like,
It'll be 2 separate ones, all the middle school being one and then all the high school being one, but it's an interactive one. If you get a chance and you Google, take a look, he gets the kids come up, you know, it's really good. So I'm hoping, I'm excited to see it.
What time is the veterans program?
2 o'clock on Friday.
The rest one.
Yeah, just one add on to Josh's report. He mentioned Mrs. Myrick and the STEM Club. They will be here at the December meeting to do a presentation for you. They are excited to talk about what they're doing. And I'm assuming there will be some Legos involved in one form or another, but they will be here. On my end, school report cards, the state is releasing those for public consumption on the 15th of this month. So just under a week from now. We will, as soon as we're able to release them, they will be posted on the school district website as we normally do, and also as required by law. They will also be shared with staff, the board, et cetera, in addition to the website for community and so on. Just a reminder about the Joint State Convention, the WAS, School Boards Association, District Administrators and School Business Officials Convention in January in Milwaukee. If you are interested, we do need to get you signed up fairly soon. And in particular, if you're thinking about staying, because the hotels are pretty well booked, at least the ones close to the convention center. So let me or Barb or both of us know, and we'll take care of that for you. We're working with Mr. Tucker on website design. We're looking right now at the platform that we have and what are the possibilities to do some things with our website. That's a request that came from the board, and we are working on that. Brad has been doing some research on our platform to see what different options are available to try to give the website a little fresher look. And maybe make it a little easier to manipulate through, when you're doing that.
Is that something we could potentially get kids involved in? Like, is there any kind of a technology kind of class where they could be involved in the design of a website?
It's certainly possible. I would have to talk with Whitney because she's the one who works in that program. And I think Josh and I could talk to that. I agree. I've been in districts where we've done that. Within reason, you've got some security things you have to deal with, but for the general design, you can certainly do some stuff with that. So that's a great question. I'll follow up on that.
There is though, where we can have students, for example, you take I'll just use girls' basketball page as an example. You can have a student that updates the page for us every week, like puts the score in, pictures from the game. That's one thing we'd like to get to and have a student do that, so. But as far as the whole design and that'd be a question, as we said, from Ms. Snyder. I don't know if we can do that or not.
Yeah, maybe that's getting out over their skis. I don't know how
Right.
technical it is. It's.
So the last thing, as you may have heard, there was an election yesterday. It's much quieter on AdWise nowadays. But just a couple of things that are school specific. Statewide, yesterday, there were 81 school referendums, but from 59 different school districts. Of those 81, 67 passed, 14 failed, so almost an 83% success rate with the referendums. Interesting when you break it down, in CISA 3, by the way, there were 4 schools for a total of 6 referendum, or 6 questions. All 6 passed. Platteville passed a $36 million building referendum. Wazeeka passed a referendum to exceed the revenue limits. And Cuba City and North Crawford passed one of each of those. And I don't remember the exact dollar amounts, but so that's from CISA. But in the breakdown, there were 34 total of the 81. There were 34 referendum to exceed the revenue limit that passed. There were 8 that failed. And that's a combination of one time exceed the revenue limit or continuing. So basically forever. So 34 of the 42 passed. On the facilities, there were, the breakdown was 33 passed, 6 failed. So generally pretty good success. Most of those that failed come from about 4 or 5 school districts that tried multiple referendums and unfortunately they were unsuccessful. So that's where the majority are coming from is just a few districts. The rest, the districts statewide had pretty good luck. On the politician front of things, Governor Evers, has won re-election for another term, which is viewed by people in the school as a positive, to say the least, when it comes to the finances. Locally, Senator Markline and Assemblyman Novak won re-election. The Republicans will maintain control of the state assembly and the state senate for the next 2 years. And so that really means that from a school law type of thing, we're not expecting to see a lot of changes from what the last 4 years have been, like, frankly. One of the things I'll be doing on a monthly basis from now on is updating you on the state budget, because starting in January, when they reconvene the legislature, that will be a very significant topic of discussion, and I want to keep all of you in the loop. It has not only ramifications for our next school year and beyond, but also with the long-range planning that we're doing, and looking at our finances, enrollment, et cetera, all of that is going to play a role. So my job is to try to keep you as informed as possible in that area. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so we will move on to the policy committee update. We have several that are in the second reading today. So we talked about all of these in previous meetings. Is there anything that anybody would like me to go over or questions for Rick maybe about? You probably remember a lot of these come from Neola. They go through state laws and change them for us so that we're up to date in compliance. We made some educational options changes so that those who get GED or HSED while in high school can participate in our graduation ceremony. Changed the compliance officer name in some of the policies. The volunteer change was just taking criminal out of
Just making a
background
background
check.
check
So it just
instead
says
of.
background check, and then a few public comments at board meeting, changes that were suggested to us by the WASB.
I'll make a motion to approve all of the current policy development reviews.
Second.
Yep, okay. We have a motion by Schmidt and a second by Glanville to approve the second reading of all the policies listed. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion passes, and we will move on to new business, with the first being posting our meetings on YouTube. And I think everybody should remember, we talked about the reason we started doing this was COVID, and we were discussing whether or not we still wanted to do that, since COVID is no longer an issue and folks can come to our meetings as much as they would like. It's not something that is a policy, so it's not something that we need to vote on to change it. It can just be stopped by administration to do that unless there is further discussion on it. And this would be the time.
We can move forward with it, and if we decide that we want to go back, we can always go back. But we're an open book, and if people want to know what's going on, they're more than welcome to come to the meetings. The Chronicle, for example, wants to report, maybe some of us can get together and help send them a report if you can't make it to a meeting.
And Barb does take great notes.
Right,
and can
that
send
too.
those.
And those meeting notes are available on the school's homepage.
They are. I'm within,
Under the board.
but like within how much time after?
Like in a couple days.
Yes.
I don't know if that's.
After approval. The other thing that I think is really powerful right now is, I don't know if you guys noticed, but our public page is that it was posted the agenda, so I
Lots
think
of time.
I actually got a comment from somebody in the community thanking us for doing that and putting it on there. I said, thank you, Laura. Thank you for doing it, because I think that helps people see, okay, is there something that's really important to me that I want to come and learn more about?
Or remember that it's tonight, because
Yeah, that
everybody
too.
is very busy, and if it's not on the calendar, that's not something that
Get into a situation with referendum that's beneficial, we can always post that we're going to have a, building grounds or planning committee meeting, for the community. Zoom, whatever.
Keep it as public as possible, but without having to record.
Okay, so we're gonna move forward with ending the streaming of our meetings on YouTube. Next is 2023-24 course description booklet.
You guys clicking that link, I hope, right? It's really pretty similar to last year. I'll just page through it. If you want me to stop, you want to go through anything, by all means, just let me know, but I'll go through the changes real quick. There's not a lot. Mr. Peter did some changes in English. You can check on that. Basically some different reading that he's doing in the classes at each level. You can see there like grade 11, those are reading Fahrenheit 451 as an example, and you can see in the blue there what's crossed out, the readings that's taken out. Page 3, library club is at 1/4 credit now. Obviously, to retain credit for that, they take it for 4 years and they'll end up getting, credit that we'll put on the transcript. Quarter credit doesn't get you a lot, but if you do it in the library club, it's kind of like jazz band, the same way, you get a quarter credit, but if you're in there, for an amount of time, then it builds up to the credit that we'll put on the transcript. Foreign language, you can see she's got the prerequisites down there. That's the only thing that she added where you have to achieve to get to the next class. As you can imagine, the next class is progressively more difficult, so you want to make sure they're ready for that, so. Moving down. Next change, I'm on page 5 now. No changes there to page 6. Miss Pink changed just the wording of her chorus classes. Broad range of music genres, prepare students for concerts, contests, musical shows. And they're gonna do some caroling this year too around town, so if you wanna join them, give me a holler.
Are you joining?
I might. But people might not wanna hear that, so I don't know if I should say or not. Moving down, Fayette, no change there. I'm on page 7 now. No changes there, page 8. Through social studies now to page 9. Tech ed, no changes there. Tutoring, we haven't done that almost since COVID, I guess now. So we didn't do it this first semester. That's one thing we'd like to get back to. I think obviously, as you know, our COVID is in, knock on wood, a good place for us right now. So we'd like to start that back in and get seniors can get credit, not just seniors, but they can get a half a credit for a semester working with tutoring with the kids and helping out staff in the elementary. Business, you can see the top one. She's added that to the bottom. She wants to do where students create and draft a business plan. This is that same class we talked about, us doing that competition. So want to make sure they add that to it. I observed Miss Snyder actually last week in her business class, and that's one of my favorite classes to watch. Actually, the stuff that they talk about is, I don't care if you're going into business, you're not going to business. It's just good to know business sense, just for yourself, finance management, things like that. Just some great stuff there. Personal finance, no change there. You got digital skills. She crossed out and reworded that, how she wants to say that class or change that class. You can see there in that reading there below. Writing a blog, podcast, just to name a few. Podcasts are becoming, probably are a big thing these days. People, especially in vehicles, listen to podcasts, and it's good stuff. IT down below that. Working through work release, SEP, no change there, junior project. History. I'm on page 14 now, down through languages. Then, as you know, we added that Ms. Johnson's doing that telepresence with our Spanish, and he says that there. That's about it for the changes, not a lot. Any questions on courses?
In one of those courses, do they teach how to do a resume?
They do. I believe. I mean,
Introduction to business
yeah.
is a chapter. Like, piece of it, and then they used to do it in junior block as well. I'm not sure, Mr. Coleman, this year.
It's not in junior block this year.
What's that?
It's not in junior block this year.
Oh, it's not,
No.
okay, so intro to business, they get an intro or a.
I would like to add interviews too, and practice some mock interviews, so I don't know if we should do that, as Ashley said, with our junior block, or keep it in that intro to business, but I like it kind of in junior blocks, so everyone gets it, and they have to do it, so that's really good practice.
Do we offer any course, I know this isn't the time really, maybe sort of changes, but do we offer any courses that are for home ec type things, back in the day, we were taught how to sew and how to cook and.
Well, family and consumer ed is what they call that today, but we don't.
Not a lot of schools do. Some do,
No,
some still do.
Some not.
Basketball has.
They still have it? I don't know.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, the basics are required.
I will tell you, there are not a lot of teachers going into that field. Similar to some other areas, unfortunately, but that is an area that even 10 years ago was very difficult to find. Fortunately, know that from experience.
I move to approve the 2023-24 course description booklets.
We have a motion by Yeager and a second by Glanville to approve the 2023-24 course description booklet. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Head football coach resignation.
Would like to recognize Coach A for his 20 years of coaching football with us, most recently the last 8 as our head coach. Did a phenomenal job. He's going to step down, but not step away. He's going to be, he's going to help out whoever takes over and still be a big part of our program. So I'd like to recognize Coach A in his many years of service to our school and football team.
Thank you, Coach A. Yes. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to accept this.
Everybody.
Well, give me a second.
So a motion by Todd and a second by Brent. Yes. To approve the head football coach resignation. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And the 2023-24 school calendar.
Yeah, we linked a draft to this, since the original draft that I sent to you last week. We did move, 2 things. We moved the parent-teacher conferences for middle and high school, and also those for elementary school based on staff feedback. The secondary ones inadvertently were scheduled during homecoming week. That's a good suggestion to probably move that one. And the elementary staff asked for it to be towards the end of the first quarter, as opposed to, a little earlier in the quarter. They'd like to have a full quarter and based on the feedback I got. So we just moved it basically about a week and a half ahead or behind, actually further down. So it'll be Thursday, November 2nd, and the following Tuesday, which I think is 5th or 7th, something like that. We did avoid coming to school on September 1st per board request. And calendar does end, the last day of classes for students would be Tuesday, June 4th, with the teacher workday being Wednesday, June 5th.
I have a couple questions. The back to school for the, what do we call it, the meet and greet? Is it possible to move that? Because like Thursday, the 31st is the first day of the fair. So you might lose half of your elementary kids to do it Tuesday or Wednesday night. That's being very. Throwing it out there.
No, that's right. We can
Yeah.
have a look at that.
I mean, why would we not have school the next day and then have it? I mean, if we're looking, if that's why we're doing that.
Right. Just because like we like to come to that, but if it's on Thursday, there's 3 kids in the elementary that will be there. And then I hope I don't get tarred and feathered for this, but just looking at these dates, so like Monday, April 1st, Tuesday, January 2nd. Is there a reason that we can't? Do we need to have those days off? Can we just deal 2 days back and get out of school 2 days earlier so we don't go into that first full week of June?
Well, that would be up to you as a board to make that decision. I used this current year's calendar as a template for this. So I did similar dates, obviously revolving around specific holidays or what have you. it is reasonably consistent with this year, other than, I mean, we could have started on September first. That would have added a day. In fact, one of the suggestions I did get was that we have school on September first, October 20th, and February 23rd. But those, especially those two, the October and the February date, I was informed, were very traditional dates to have off here for a variety of reasons. And while I'm not afraid of change, I too do not want to be tarred and feathered in my first 6 months here. So if I can avoid.
What are those days off for?
Well, one, honestly, the 20th, I originally had it down as compensation for parent-teacher conferences. Because and I'm sure that's why it's there. I understand the February date has historically been there. I was told, and I'm just sharing what I was told, is that it conveniently coincides with state wrestling tournament. And it's been a day off.
I thought they used to coincide with like teacher convention. Yeah.
Yeah, the 20th would have, back in the day. Yeah, WEAC convention or SWEO, depending on which organization, or they may have gone both, but those have been long gone for sure. So yeah, there are a couple of opportunities in there. It's just a question of how much do you want to shake it up?
Those days around Easter, it looks like we've got Tuesday through Friday off. Is that right before Easter, I'm guessing? Is that?
Yeah, students will actually have the Tuesday off. That's at the end of third quarter for teachers, so that'll be a work day for teachers.
We haven't always done that. Sometimes we've just had a day before and a day after, haven't we? We've not always had a whole week there.
Usually most recently we've had a whole week, but
Most
previous to that
recently,
we've had
yeah.
just a shorter one there. I don't care either way on that one. If you want to shorten that one up, I might get tired and feathered too, but not there right now.
I kind of think you would. But
people love it, especially the Monday after.
I mean,
Yeah,
people love what? The Monday?
They love the Monday after, big time after Easter,
Well,
especially if
and-
they travel.
I mean, getting out of school earlier, it's great and it's something we're used to, but also people love having a 4-day week here and there,
Right.
and not, and so.
Well, and truthfully, in all the years I've been doing this, February is the longest month of the school calendar. And you go a long time between breaks for kids and staff in particular.
Yes.
It's kind of essential for mental health. So,
Maybe something that you could survey for us,
sure,
get some feedback from
sure.
staff for sure, maybe parents as well. What do you all think of that?
Yeah, and if you guys want to put this on hold until I have a chance to do that, I should be able to have that for you, those results for you back in December. And 1 month isn't gonna kill us.
Is for the elementary parent-teacher conferences, is that enough time for teachers to have the grades for the second, for the, okay.
Yeah.
conferences?
That should be no problem at all.
Okay.
So everybody is okay with tabling this for them? Talking about it and.
I mean, when does it need to be decided that?
I honestly, my philosophy is to try to get it done as early as possible. And in fact, in many of the districts I've worked in, we've done a 2-year cycle at one time. Just so people know what's going on. I'm not advocating that here necessarily, but it is nice for people to do their planning. Not everybody does this. In fact, I'm guessing it is a minority, but people do plan out a year and a half in advance. And so if they know the school calendar further in advance, it helps them. That's staff and parents.
Especially around Easter, like thinking that people that would go on a.
If they're gonna go on a vacation or
Right.
visit family, what
Exactly.
have you, yes.
So I will bring this back with some data for you in December, then, if that is the consensus.
Or if you all want to move forward with this and get a survey for next year, we could always do that as well. Because what I'm hearing is making these changes is going to be a big deal, so we need to make an informed decision. So, next month or next year?
I think it's good to get the data. I mean, I really do. I think that'll make for a better calendar for next year if people, both parents and staff have that ownership. And I think staff has some of that just because we did send it out to them and got feedback. But this will provide another level of that, and then certainly with parents as well. So there's nothing wrong with providing ownership for things.
Couldn't that also then provide an option to do a second year calendar so that people could plan even better in advance? So we could maybe do that?
Yeah, I have no, I mean,
If the approvals are good, if they like the way it works.
If we end up going to referendum,
that would be the second year calendar. That would be the 24-25 school year, because this is, or no, excuse me, that would be the 23-24. So actually, it would not, yeah, it would be a three-year calendar out for that year. So I can put together something just so you can see it, and then you guys can decide in December what you want to do with it.
It's a motion to table.
Yeah, just to be safe.
Move to table the 23-24 school calendar to be December.
We have a motion by Yeager and a second by Villianville to table the 2023 and 24 school calendar. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 2023 school board election.
This is a reminder that there is an election coming up in April. And two of our board members are up for re-election, Andy and Brent. You guys both represent 2 of the 5 apportioned rural seats. So somebody who wants to run does need to live outside of the village. You can put in nomination papers on, the earliest is December 1st, and you have until the first Tuesday in January, which I think is the 3rd of January. And then if you're not going to run, there is paperwork that you need to file as well for non-candidacy. That has to be in by, I believe, the 22nd or 23rd of December. So that people know. And people who do want to file papers have until 5 p.m. that day, that Tuesday in January, to turn their nomination papers in.
Okay, and that was the last thing on our agenda. Any items for signature, Beth? Putting the date for the next meeting, December 12th, 6 p.m.
14.
14.
Yes, we do have a special meeting before that on November 30th.
The special one at 6, right?
Yes.
Yes. Is that okay?
Works for me.
No basketball game.
It should, I think we did a Wednesday.
No, it's a Wednesday. No, never mind.
Make a motion to adjourn.
A motion by Buncombe, a second by Yeager to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned at 7:01.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
No, I don't.
Thank you all for attending.
Thanks, guys.
Oh.